Hey, how's everybody doing today? This is Mark Brody, and this is the next episode of Coffee Talk with Brohawk. And today I have as my guest on this episode Mike Pace with Virgin Pulse, and he also leads the Northeast Contact Center Forum as well. And Mike, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and what you're up to these days.
Sure. Hey everyone, I'm Michael Pace. I'm the Vice President of Member Services and Operations for Virgin Pulse. We administrate wellness programs for some of the largest companies around the world and municipalities. Help you manage everything from making sure you get your steps in to broader topics like diabetes and heart conditions and such. I think I've been with Virgin Pulse, so it's coming up on just under 4 years now. It's been an incredible ride, and that's my paying job.
Yep.
My non-paying job, like you said, I've been the president for the Northeast Contact Center Forum for the past about 5 years. It might be six now.
Okay.
The NECCF has been around for about 20 years. It's a grassroots organization, really for the promotion of, it's a community of contact center professionals, up in
Yeah.
the Northeast, and keeps going. We made it through COVID. Had a great event recently, and talk more about it a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the events that you and your team up there put on are just fantastic. I enjoy attending them. So, Michael, you were recently named at Contact Center Week, CCW Contact Center Leader of the Year. Among other accolades for not just you but for your operation as a whole. What does industry recognition like this mean for you?
Well, I think, don't get me wrong. I mean, it was incredibly humbling and just incredible to be named contact center leader of the year. But we did also win best culture. We were runner up for contact center of the year plus 100 seats, and one of the people who works directly for me was recognized as a next generation leader, which I think that's the one that kind of broke me at the actual award ceremony. That's the one that kind of broke me down a little bit. But particularly the best culture award, that's way bigger than my own personal award and stuff like that. I mean, that's the culmination of years of the whole almost 4 years of putting things together and working with my management team and sub management teams and building out what we think is really a great place to work and something that helps our members be successful and our associates be successful. And it was really amazing. But I mean, I think the other big thing was, the broader recognition that it brought to our service organization. So, within the company itself has been fantastic. We do a pretty good job, and a lot of our core competencies within the company are really outside of stuff within member services. It's engagement and all the data that we have, and our one-to-one client relationships and such. So all those things, I'm not saying they outrank customer service, but they are the priorities are a little bit different. So being able to say we have this amazing customer service organization, the folks who work in the Virgin Pulse Member Services organization know that they're considered some of the best. That's the really special part. So.
Yeah, just want to touch a little bit on culture a little bit because culture some people say, well, we'll put a few wall hangings up here and put a few more over there, and hey, we have a great engaged culture. And what is it about culture that that you've seen really works? Things that you've had to implement over your career that just seems to resonate. And it's probably as much about your brand, your individual brand as a leader. Bring that stuff to fruition. I would think as well. But what are some important components of culture that you would recommend?
Sure. So let's just start with, so culture is the most important foundational block of your sort of organization, right?
Hmm.
So we work by a specific strategic framework, and I'll try to explain it as best I can here. But it really starts with a clear and articulated culture. So articulated and internalized is actually another piece of it.
Hmm.
Really having the best talent, strong process management, the right technology, and leveraging data insights. And these are our core foundational blocks
Hmm.
that support our core or key imperatives. So our strategic imperatives, which are about the quality of the service, our cost, scale, flexibility, our people, and our overall operational excellence, right? And all of that, theoretically builds upon each other to this, great, customer experience, right?
Yeah.
So, culture is where you start everything. And the best story, I love giving this sort of story, is um, about a few years back, I was tasked to build out David Yurman. It's a luxury retail,
Hmm.
organization,
Yeah.
and their customer service organization. And I got there, and we were talking with their new director of customer service, and we were talking about why is this important? Kind of going very Simon Sinek kind of on her, and why is it important? And first it started off with, well, for CSAT, well, that's a result of this, and NPS, that's a result of this, and we kept five why in her, and what it really came down to is we realized the customer service organization there was about helping our customers make memories, right? Because that's really kind of what they were doing when they were purchasing David Yurman jewelry, right? Whether it was an anniversary or an engagement or a special thing that you're recognizing, or it could just be retail therapy. It could be a whole bunch of things, right? But there was some
Yes.
kind of memory being made, right? And making that connection, and to do that, it was kind of like connecting memories. I think is kind of what we actually said was the kind of the culture and the values and the why.
Hmm.
And went into even how we thought about what people we wanted. So we wanted to get people who could, the average call we knew was somewhere between like 5 and 7 minutes. We wanted someone who could build rapport in their interviews were actually only 5 minutes long.
Okay.
Um, they didn't realize this, but the purpose of the interview was could they build rapport with us in 5 minutes? That was
Uh-huh.
really the whole interview. The rest of the interview was actually, just make sure no red flags, and did they like fashion and jewelry, and those kind of things were important too. But it was really, could they build that piece? And our processes were built around making memories and all these other kind of things, and
Mhm.
even all the way up through our data. I'll give you the opposite example though, and sometimes that even is usually more helpful. While I was working with David German, it just happened to be I took a vacation, and I went down to Florida with my girlfriend and my son, and we are super ready to take our vacation. We got all these things planned out, and we get to the car rental agency kind of thing, and we look, and there's a couple of people in front of us, but there's really no one else at any of the other car, places. And
Yeah.
you see like, 4 or 5 people up there. You don't know what they're doing. They are with people and stuff like that. 50 minutes later, we're still in the same spot,
Oh
right?
my gosh.
And what they didn't realize what they were doing. Like, okay, yeah, there might be some process things going on, or who knows what's going on. But you know, it's when I was there to rent a car, but that wasn't all I was doing.
Hmm.
They were my gateway to my vacation, right? And
Yes.
they were like, my vacation actually, started when before I got onto the plane, right? As well, if you think about customer journeys and stuff like that,
Hmm.
this journey started way before it started the booking and all that kind of stuff. But now they're at sort of the linchpin moment of my vacation of like, I'm down here. I want to get to my vacation, right?
Yes.
And we were there, and I'm just getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated because I'm like a process goober, and I'm wondering what's wrong with their process, and then I'm upset that they're just being so like they're destroying. Do they understand that you know they're
Th-
my
Their yeah,
they're my
their
hurdle
vision
to
didn't
my
match your vision.
right? Yes, and so this rental car agency, they think they rent cars.
Yeah.
No, they're a gateway to people's vacations or what have you. I mean, there's
Yeah,
tons of ways to think about it, but
exactly.
that's what culture is, and that's understanding why you do it and why it's important you do it. We're changing lives. We're trying to change lives for good here in member services.
Hmm.
And those lives are also not only our members, but we actually consider our associates as a part of that. And I think that's why our culture is so strong. And, that led us to, we had 70, we were a group of about between 160 and 200, call center associates.
Yeah,
We had 70 promotions last year. So 70.
that's awesome.
So, and 80% of those were outside of member services, right? So we build up um a culture of helping them grow and being that's part of the giving back to the the associate part of things. So and that's all embedded in our culture, and we try, we do the things and we talk about the things daily that help kind of progress the member and help them be successful and help the associate be successful, and that's really what our culture is about.
And it sounds like, I mean, you mentioned, the five whys when you're with David Yurman. It's almost like you do that internal five whys on a daily basis. Why is this important? Why do we continue to do things the way we've done things?
Yeah.
Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I think it's really accurate. I think, like I said, that is kind of what gets back to your culture and your standards, right? And those kinds of things. I think, the Ritz Carlton's always the beacon,
Hmm.
of that. It's ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. They have their 22 standards of like, this is how they work, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying we are there yet, and and our vision and purpose is slightly different than theirs. Um, but we are really like, how can we help make this member successful in whatever they are trying to do? And it could be changing their entire life in terms of a wellness program. It could be like they just want the rewards and get their gift cards for doing the activities that they're supposed to do. There's nothing wrong with that. That's part of it. And then
Yes.
there's so many, and there's so many possibilities in between those two things. And then, for our agents and now we're located all over the US versus kind of being centrally located, helping them stay connected to the business, helping them grow in their careers wherever they want to grow and how they want to grow, and work on the basic things that can help them go anywhere, like communication and customer focus and results orientation and integrative thinking, and living the company values as a whole, and being innovative and flexible and those kind of things. And those are the things that we help them with, which are they're great for us in member services, but it's also about helping them, grow as an individual, and for whatever career they want to go into. And if you want to be super agent, that's great. But if you also want to get into marketing or IT or other things, you're going to need these kind of common core competencies too. And it's our way of, yeah, I don't think I think it I think working and focusing on, their long-term career, beats out any pizza parties and all those other kind of things that, we used to all do to kind of keep things happy. And sometimes you got to do those things too. And we will do, we will blow out customer service week, the first week of October as best we possibly can. And, make it really important for people and such. But before that, it's really about the culture.
So awesome. Well, you and I have been in this industry for a minute or two. Um, we probably cut our teeth on this a long time ago.
Yep.
Um, but somebody that's looking to be a leader in the contact center space, what would be your top three recommendations for them?
Yeah, so I think my first one is I think the experience journey that most people go down or they start with
Hmm.
is focused really on only two of the four sort of, like I said, we call them strategic imperatives, but like two of the four parts of kind of contact center leadership. And
Hmm.
usually it's the quality of service. So they're working on things like CSAT and NPS and internal quality QA and FCR and making sure response times are fast and things like that, right? Or they're focused on people and well, hopefully they are focused on their agents, or they're focused on agent engagement, agent communication, turnover, attrition, those kind of things, you know and those are the right things for supervisors and some managers to be focused on, right?
Yeah.
But the two other things that as they expand and they grow, one's going to be they're going to have to understand sort of the cost, scale, flexibility piece of the business, right?
Yeah.
The other piece is what I would just consider operational excellence. And on the cost scale side, this is odds are you're probably a variable organization, meaning you don't have a lot of fixed you have a lot of hourly people, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and you might have seasonality and ups and downs in your seasons, right?
Yeah.
How do you manage that effectively and efficiently, right? What is
Hmm.
your key cost metric? Um, in the ecom world, it's almost always contacts to order, right? How many contacts we have to how many orders we have, right? That'll start
Hmm.
telling you how kind of efficient you are, right? Or what's your kind of key cost per metric, right? For me, it's cost per, member, right?
Yeah.
Um, or for me, it's also contact to member, right? So
Hmm.
how many contacts, how am I lowering the number of contacts to members? How am I making their experience easier, right?
Hmm.
And all this will add up into, if you ask contact center representative managers and above, what do their management ask them questions about, right? Or
Hmm.
what are the things they talk about with them? Yeah, I'm sure quality of experience is a part of it, but they're also probably talking to you about things like budget and how are you doing more with less, right?
Hmm.
And those kind of things. Um, and the how do you do that is there's a lot of different ways. There's outsourcing, there's the right mix of outsourcing and insourcing. There's
Hmm.
leveraging the right technologies, right? There's how do you make self-service more easy to use and these kind of things, right? There's going to be some type of efficiency metrics that you have.
Yeah.
And I think more junior folks don't focus on those. And then they also don't really focus on what I would consider operational excellence as much. So, we all learned 2 years ago business continuity and having business continuity plans was a really big, important part of things, right?
Yes.
And it's sort of a little bit easier now because everyone's almost working in this business continuity kind of fashion, but you still need business continuity type of things, right?
Yeah.
You Odds are your call center probably has anywhere from 5 to 15 projects going on at the same time. How are
Hmm.
you effectively managing that program of projects? Are they all in green? Are they all, in red? Are they in yellow? Are they on pace? Are they match, are they achieving the results that you want them to achieve, right? So sort of project and program management. Do you have effective process management throughout your organization, right? Is it,
Mhm.
if your key person gets hit by the lottery bus, do you have, do you know how to do you have the playbooks to do their job and stuff like that,
Yes.
right? So all those kind of things sort of get overlooked. So that's the first thing. And I know it was a long piece, but cost and looking beyond just quality of experience and people, is looking at cost and looking at your operational excellence.
Mhm.
I would say the other thing too is get really, really clear on your business's strategic priorities, right? Like not every contact center, the most important thing for every contact center might not be the quality of experience,
Yeah.
right? It really might not be. There's a lot of gigantic organizations out there where customer service is not the most important thing. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever tried reaching out to Google, but like, but I know if you try to get, someone on the phone on your iPhone, it's not that
Yeah,
easy, right?
exactly.
Um, in your, but if I'm at Zappos or Chewy, right, and I'm
Yeah.
selling a highly commodity product, it's
Mhm.
sneakers and dog food on one hand, right?
Yeah.
Differentiated service is a big, big deal. I was talking before about Virgin Pulse, ours is more about engagement and use of data and this kind of thing. And
Yeah.
our priorities of the experience and costs are kind of like actually pretty similar, like Wade,
Mhm.
we balance them more, right?
Yeah.
And then lastly, so to understand your business priorities, as it relates to um, service versus cost versus people versus scale and those kind of things. And then
Yeah.
lastly, what is your service vision? I think we just kind of talked about this from a culture standpoint. Who are you? What do you do? Why is it important? Those are the
Yeah.
things.
And
That was
and, and
really
those are
good. I'm
and Mike, those are things that really you can't go to school and just teach somebody how to do that. I mean, it's taken us years of experience
Yes.
to really understand the finer points of everything you just went through. Um, it's not like you can open a textbook and contact center for dummies or whatever. Not that I consider that a textbook of for contact centers, but
Yeah.
um, it's not like you can just start reading through a book and all of a sudden be a contact center expert. I mean, it takes
Yeah.
years of
No,
experience.
it is a balance of art and science. I think that's why I
Yep.
like it. I think that's why I like it's like cooking. I think, there's another art and science sort of balance type of thing.
Yes.
I think that's why
And,
I enjoy it. Yeah, I
and,
agree
you
with
know,
you.
so I mean, you spoke a little bit about like business continuity over the past couple of years, but like over the last 10 years or so, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen in contact centers? Just over the past 10 years. I mean, back when we started, I mean, IVRs were supposed to take over the world, and there were going to be no agents in contact centers. Everything was going to
Oh
be
yeah,
self-service.
served on the web or whatever. Yeah. So
Exactly.
uh so I think the couple biggest changes are, 10 years ago, if you talk to a technology person or someone at a business process outsourcing,
Mhm.
organization, they'd be hammering you with like, we're gonna save you this many seconds on your call. And
Yeah.
it was all about how do I, I could lower your AHT and I could lower your wait time and I could lower all these things, right?
Uh-huh.
It was about efficiency and it was about like dollars and such. I do
Hmm.
think in the last 10 years, more of the conversation has moved into, you know, how what is the overall experience, right?
Yeah.
And improving the experience and looking for the win-win situations and such.
Hmm.
I do think the cloud is probably, the biggest technology change at this point. again, 10 years ago with that IVR thing, that IVR had to get bolted onto some, hard, some PBX like type thing, right?
Yeah.
And the IVR came in its own case with its own racks. It probably actually came with its own little laptop that you would slide out and configure like in some kind of
I
room.
remember those.
I definitely did it. Um, and everything, there was analog racks and all these yellow cords and
Yeah.
things like that. And, moving all the stuff to the cloud and the I'd probably say the last 3 or 4 years, the comfort of the cloud has actually been,
Hmm.
when I went off kind of for my own consulting in like 2012, it was, I was recommending some cloud things at that point, and people were definitely a bit skittish. And then what
Yeah.
was available on the cloud wasn't, complete, as it is, today. And I think probably the last thing is the speed that the technology jump has made, I think, since COVID. And I don't know if it has something, to do with COVID and such, but it probably has more to do with what they used to call big data and AI, type of
Mhm.
stuff. If you go to these conferences that you and I host,
Yeah.
or you just look online or you're on LinkedIn, it's everything's like 30 different companies doing some trying to explain to you what kind of AI thing that they're doing. And I'm not even sure half of it is AI or machine learning or not machine learning or whatever, but there are so many different, what do you want to call them, robotic processing automation type of things out
Yeah.
there. I mean, that have just really, really popped up within the last 2, 3 years that could do your, instead of doing 2% of your QA manually, you can do 100% of it now, right?
Yeah.
Or can automate a lot of your, basic steps, or go way, way beyond like what text analytics and that kind of stuff could do for you.
Yeah.
So those are the big, I think those are the big changes.
You started to mention a little bit about associations, and you and I both lead associations. And you know what what do you see as values for associations like NECCF or the Austin Contact Center Alliance,
Yeah.
for members or for practitioners, and I would also say for industry partners, who attend those events. Where do you see the value really coming in from?
So I think the value is the community.
Yeah.
That is, that is the number one sort of reason. So the community,
Hmm.
local, local peers, local partners, local, vendors, local, commiserators, even, you know what I mean? Like those people in the same stupid spot that you're in type of thing, right? Um,
Yes.
and you'd be surprised how many, folks locally are working through problems that you worked through maybe a year or two ago, or you're
Hmm.
working through a problem that they've already kind of worked through and such, right?
Yes.
It's not, also the great thing about our industry is if, somebody works in banking and somebody works in retail and somebody works in tech, a lot of the core problems are the same, or the technology, the underlying technology is a lot of it is the same. And how can, one person can help you out, lots of
Yeah.
different ways. And, from an affordability standpoint, I don't think anybody can beat us on all these kind of things, right? So, you go
Yes.
out to these big conferences and they're great for meeting a lot of people and
Yeah.
seeing a lot of vendors. And, there's a lot of industry experts at them, but, for a relatively low price point, tens or hundreds of dollars, you could bring an entire team to an event, and, your entire team can see, this new technology. They can meet other local people. They can meet peers and mentors and things like that. And for the vendors, I think it's a chance for for all these contact center managers and directors and VPs and stuff like that to, without going out to Las Vegas or without going to Orlando or without going to some, big city for, this large event that's going to be multi-days and all this other kind of stuff. A lot of these things are just, 1 or 2 day events that are, simple, easy to get to, usually relatively low cost. I could bring my entire team for a whole day of learning.
Mm-hmm.
I could see 80-90% of the technology that's kind of, out there and new. And, it's just a great value.
Yeah, I would agree. And the other thing I would add to that, Mike, is industry partners. I mean, they're seeing hundreds of different contact centers and understanding what some contact centers have tried and failed or tried and succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they bring to the networking conversation somebody that's just banging their head against the wall trying
Yeah.
to figure out a problem. They can say, well, I worked with a client or I worked with a customer that had a similar problem, and this is how they solved it. And it's rarely a sales pitch for their product. It
No,
could be,
it's a lot
you
more.
know.
Again, it's almost more just, again, it's kind of like this community, right? I mean, that's really kind of what you're building. And, somebody asked me if I know somebody who's in, this kind of market, or do I know somebody who's, working on this, working with this type of technology, or, we got this problem, you know,
Yep.
and I always kind of actually think of us as sort of Martha Stewart, right? And what we actually do is we host the party, right? And
Yes.
we'll get the beer and some music, and get the thing started, and then it becomes us, making some introductions and things like that, and let them kind of go off and understand
Yes.
how they can help each other. And you know from our end, we'll get some exciting keynotes, or
Hmm.
we'll work on some hands-on activities, like how are you retaining associates, or how are you thinking about training in this virtual world, or
Yep.
how what are all these common problems that we have, and put people at small working groups and reading out kind of their progress, and those kind of things are super helpful and tangible. And um so besides, the odds are you're probably getting a good little lunch and a great day for the event, and get to see some new technology, but you also get to meet some people who are going through a lot of the same things you're going through, and can help out.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, we've gotten to almost the end of this conversation here, Michael, and I just want to get to a speed round with you. So
Okay.
just a couple of things. So you ready?
Yes.
Yeah, crack the neck.
Like
All right.
Rocky. Yeah.
So so what fact about you would people be most surprised to learn?
Probably actually the amount of coffee that I ingest. So, this is, 2 or 3 of these a day.
Nice.
Not small. Yeah, I think I only drink water, coffee, and booze. So,
There you go.
so probably the amount of coffee I drink a day would be surprising to some people.
Hey, I'm with you. I have so right now I have coffee and a bang. So, um, so where is your ideal off the grid location? You just want to, disconnect to reconnect, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm a bass fisherman, so
Oh,
on the
excellent.
lake. Um, you know, my girlfriend asked me, like, why do you have like so many fishing pole? Like, like, well, each one has a different reason, a different use, and different so amount.
Yes.
I am if I win the lottery or something like that, I'm going on the professional bass fishing tour. That's what I would want to do. I would go fishing, competition wise, as a job, and if I won or lost, I would it's more the competition and the fun of it, and that's what I would be. I'd be um you know on or near a lake is my happy place.
Excellent. Excellent. What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
Size wise, I mean, Well, the last year, I'll just go into last year. Last year, offshore, I caught a barracuda and a king mackerel, which were both probably almost 4 feet long
Oh
each.
man.
I caught a fairly largemouth this year, just a hair under 5 pounds, which up in the Northeast, this isn't like
It's,
Texas. The fish
yeah,
don't grow as big. But we have a lot more smallmouth up here, which is a great fight.
yeah.
But it was a hair under about 5 pounds. So
Nice,
um,
nice. Yeah, that's not a small fish.
no,
So
no.
no. Excellent. So, hey, if somebody wants to pick your brain on like leadership philosophy, creating a great culture or anything else contact center related, I know you and I, we're both contact center geeks. I mean, so we'll
Yeah.
talk about this stuff for hours.
Yeah.
And I say that with all the love and compassion
Yes,
for the
yes. I've
industry
already
and for
got way over
yourself.
time with you here. Yes.
Exactly. How could they contact you?
Yeah, LinkedIn's the easiest way. It's just yeah, LinkedIn. Let's connect on LinkedIn. We'll start a conversation. We'll figure out what's the right way to take it from there. You can find me on Twitter, and you'll probably find me on TikTok more than Twitter even nowadays. But I'd probably say LinkedIn is probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Michael, thank you very much for your time today. We really appreciate it. I appreciate it. Your willingness to do this episode and look forward to many, many, many more conversations with you in the future.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
All right. Thanks a lot and have a great rest of the day.